The stars over Earth burned cold and indifferent, scattered across the night like the ghosts of ancient wars. Commander Elias Rose stood in the observation deck of Orbital Station Sentinel, his reflection staring back from the glass, gray eyes, military-cut hair, the lines of too many sleepless nights etched into his face. Beyond the glass, the Earth glowed in tranquil blues and whites. Peaceful. Deceptively so. "Telemetry looks clean," said Lieutenant Murray from her console. "No anomalies in deep space scans. Same nothing as yesterday." Elias didn't respond right away. Nothing was never just nothing. Humanity had learned that the hard way. He turned toward her, voice even but edged with unease. "Expand the sweep. Triple range. Focus on the Kuiper line." She blinked. "Triple? That'll burn through a week's power reserves." "Do it anyway." Murray hesitated, then keyed in the command. The deep-range scanners whined, invisible waves stretching far into the void. Elias folded his arms and watched the display bloom with static, then sharpen into data points, empty, 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 until one flickered at the edge of the grid. "Hold there," Elias ordered. Murray zoomed in. A faint signal pulse appeared, then vanished, then reappeared, irregular and faint but undeniably artificial. "That's not debris," she murmured. Elias leaned closer. "Source vector? Deep outer system. Beyond Pluto's orbit." Elias straightened. The silence in the command deck thickened. He tapped his comm implant. "Row to Central Command. We have a contact. Possible stealth vessel, unknown signature. Transmitting data now." Static. Then a voice, calm, formal, slightly too calm. "Copy that, Sentinel. Maintain observation. Do not engage. Earth Command will review." He ended the call. "They'll review it," he muttered, bitterness seeping through. "They always review it." Murray gave him a careful look. "You think it's them?" "I don't know. But whatever it is, it's not friendly." 2 hours later, the signal multiplied. 10 contacts. Then 50. All approaching the inner system, silent and precise. Their vector pointed straight toward Earth. By dawn, Sentinel's main screen was crowded with red markers. Elias stared at the impossible formation. "That's not a scouting fleet. That's an invasion armada." Murray's hands trembled slightly over the console. "There's no record of any Council fleet this size. Not even during the Purge Wars." Elias felt a chill spread through his chest. "Then it's someone else. Someone who thinks we're still the humans the Council remembers, soft, fractured, afraid." He looked down at Earth, still serene in its orbit, billions of lives unaware that death was coming. "Send a priority alert to every defense node," he ordered. "Activate the planetary shield grid and mobilize orbital reserves." Far away, in the galactic capital of Luraxis Prime, the news reached the council hall like a ripple through still water. The chamber was vast, filled with light and voices of 100 species. At the center, the council speaker, a crystalline being named Zelvor, addressed the assembly. "Esteemed delegates," Zelvor's voice echoed like chimes in a storm. "We have received disturbing intelligence. The Kothar Dominion is mobilizing against Earth." The hall erupted in disbelief. "Earth?" hissed a reptilian senator. "That primitive backwater? The humans were confined there after the Accord. They've no fleets, no allies." Another delegate, an avian from the Rees Coalition, ruffled her feathers uneasily. "The Kothar wouldn't waste a fleet for a dead world. There must be more." A nervous murmur swept through the chamber. The name human still carried weight, even centuries after Earth withdrew from galactic affairs. Humanity had been unpredictable, too resourceful, too stubborn. Zelvor raised a translucent hand for silence. "We have sent envoys to intercept the Dominion fleet. The Council forbids planetary extermination. However," the being's crystalline features dimmed slightly, "if humanity retaliates, the balance of the galaxy may shift again. And we cannot afford another war." In the shadows of the gallery, a smaller figure, a Terran observer named Dr. Lena Cortez, listened in silence. She was Earth's sole ambassador to the Council, a token presence meant for diplomacy, not defense. But her heart hammered as she processed the words. "They're attacking Earth?" she whispered. The sound escaped her before she could stop it. Several delegates turned toward her, uneasy. "Yes," Zelvor said softly. "We are very concerned." Lena met the alien's crystalline eyes and saw something that chilled her more than fear: pity. On Sentinel Station, alarms shrieked through steel corridors. Crews rushed between terminals, magnetic boots clanging. The red wave of enemy signals now filled half the display. "Command authorization from Earth just came through," Beret said, voice tight. "They're deploying the old orbital defense network. The Bastion Protocol." Elias's pulse quickened. The Bastion Protocol was a relic, built in the aftermath of the last alien incursion 2 centuries ago, mothballed after peace was declared. If they were reactivating it now, it meant the world governments were unified again, even if only in fear. "About damn time," Elias muttered. The deck lights flickered as the network came online. Across the orbit, massive silos opened, long-forgotten weapon platforms awakening like ancient gods. Blue energy lines lit up across Earth's atmosphere. Then the first enemy fleet entered visual range. Through the viewport, space distorted as hundreds of alien ships emerged, sleek, black, and bristling with spines that pulsed with violet energy. Murray whispered. "Kothar Dominion warforms." Elias clenched his fists. "Broadcast to all channels. Message to the Kothar flagship." She nodded and opened the channel. "This is Commander Elias Rowe of Earth's Sentinel Station. You are trespassing in Terran space. Identify your purpose or face engagement." The reply came seconds later, low and guttural, translated through static. "Human command. You are obsolete. This world belongs to the Dominion. Surrender, and your extinction will be painless." Elias's lip curled. "You picked the wrong planet." He cut the channel. "Target lead vessels. Fire at will." The void erupted in light. Rail slugs, plasma bursts, and kinetic spears tore through black space. Alien ships responded with beams that split the dark like lightning. The first wave smashed against the shield grid, burning white-hot before dissipating. "Shields holding at 87%, Beret shouted. Elias grinned grimly. "Not bad for an obsolete species." The command deck shook as return fire slammed against the hull. Sirens wailed, systems screamed, but humanity fought back. Across Earth orbit, defense platforms blazed, interceptors launched, and old war AIs reawakened from digital sleep. For the first time in centuries, Earth roared. At that moment, in the council hall, the delegates watched the real-time feed in stunned silence. "They're fighting back," murmured the Rees delegate. Zelvor's crystal body flickered uncertainly. "Impossible. The humans should not possess this level of technology." Lena Cortez rose from her seat, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "You thought we forgot how to fight. You thought we'd become relics. But you never understood humanity." The screen flashed white as a Kothar dreadnought exploded under coordinated fire. She looked around the silent chamber. "We were never extinct. We were waiting." On Sentinel Station, amid smoke and chaos, Elias watched the burning remains of the first Kothar wave scatter into nothingness. He exhaled slowly, the taste of ozone and iron in the air. "Murray," he said quietly, "send this to Earth Command." She turned, soot-streaked and exhausted. "What's the message?" He stared into the stars where the next wave was already forming. "Tell them, the war's begun." The air inside Sentinel Station hung heavy with the smell of scorched metal and ionized oxygen. Repairs screamed through every deck, drones scurrying like silver ants over torn hull plates. Commander Elias Rowe stood in the command core, hands braced on the console, his face illuminated by flickering tactical holos. Around him, the soft rhythm of controlled chaos filled the air. Orders barked, status reports muttered, the heartbeat of a world at war. 73% of the grid is still functional, Beret reported, her voice hoarse from hours without rest. But the western orbital ring took a pounding. We've lost 3 bastions completely. Elias nodded grimly. And the Kothar? She expanded the display. A wave of red icons crawled toward Earth's orbit. Still coming. Second fleet inbound. Estimated arrival in 4 hours. He exhaled slowly. They're testing us. Or wearing us down. Elias's jaw tightened. Not if we hit first. Earth Command, New Geneva Defense Hub. On the surface, buried beneath kilometers of reinforced bedrock, the nerve center of human defense hummed with desperate precision. General Haru Tanaka, Supreme Commander of Earth's Combined Forces, leaned over a strategic display as encrypted feeds from orbit flickered in and out. They're deploying in waves, Haru said. The Kothar are confident. They think we'll crumble before the third strike. Beside him stood Dr. Lena Cortez, freshly returned from the Galactic Council aboard a courier ship that had barely outrun the Kothar advance. She hadn't slept in 30 hours, and her expression was a mixture of fury and disbelief. You saw the Council's reaction? Haru asked without looking up. I saw fear, she replied quietly. But not for us. For themselves. They're terrified of what'll happen if we win. He glanced up. If we win? She met his eyes. When we win. Haru allowed himself a faint smile. You sound like Ro. Elias Ro believes in action, not diplomacy, she said. That's why he's still alive up there. He turned back to the display. And that's why we're going to give him reinforcements. Orbit, 4 hours later. The stars lit up again. The second Kothar fleet emerged from slip space like a tide of blades, thousands strong. Their formation stretched from the shadow of the moon to the edge of Mars' orbit, elegant, merciless, and silent. Contact confirmed, Murray said. Massive energy signatures. They're deploying planetary disruptors. Elias's pulse quickened. They mean to crack the surface. Command says reinforcements are en route, long-range cruisers from the Europa shipyards. ETA 2 hours. That's 2 hours too long. He studied the holo. The enemy was overconfident, just as Haru had predicted. A central formation, heavily shielded, sluggish, guarded their command ships. If that segment broke, the rest might scatter. Murray, he said, patch me through to the Bastion AI network. Her fingers flew over the console. The interface blinked, then came alive with dozens of digital voices, cold, mechanical, waiting for orders. Elias spoke clearly. Initiate crossfire pattern Sigma. Lock primary weapons on command vessels and coordinate firing arcs through my signal. No autonomous targeting. Command accepted, the synthetic chorus replied. He straightened. Let's remind them why humanity never surrenders. The void erupted. Earth's orbital bastions synchronized, spearing the darkness with lines of plasma so bright they cut through night and atmosphere alike. The coordinated barrage tore through the Kothar front line, slicing apart the first destroyers before they could form counter-shields. The Kothar responded instantly. Dozens of smaller vessels broke off, darting toward the stations like hornets. They unleashed storms of violet energy, burning holes through satellites and defense grids. 2 bastions down! Murray shouted. Recalibrate! Elias barked. Feed auxiliary power from the reserve reactors. Keep the grid alive! A tremor ran through the deck as Sentinel absorbed a glancing hit. The lighting dimmed, then stabilized. From the viewport, the battle stretched across half the sky, a web of fire and motion. Then a transmission burst through the static, crackling with alien tones. Human flagship, you defy inevitability. Why do you resist? Elias leaned forward. Because we've seen inevitability before, and buried it. The alien voice hissed. You fight extinction with defiance? Futile. Defiance is what made us human. He cut the channel and activated the forward batteries. The next salvo shattered the Kothar's command flank. The alien dreadnought burst apart, fragments spinning into the void like shattered glass. A cheer rippled through the command deck, brief and fierce. Status? Elias asked. Command ships down to 60% strength, Marais replied, sweat glistening on her temple. But we've got new readings, slip space ruptures forming across the grid. Elias frowned. Reinforcements? Not ours. The ruptures widened. From them, massive structures unfolded, dark monoliths bristling with pylons. The sensors screamed warnings, quantum destabilizers. Weapons designed to erase matter itself. Elias, Marais said, voice trembling. If they deploy those, Earth's atmosphere will disintegrate. He didn't hesitate. Reroute every bastion platform to target the pylons. Now. The deck shook as the bastions fired. Blue beams converged on the alien structures, cracking their shields. One detonated, then another, each explosion brighter than dawn. But one remained, intact, charging. Targeting incomplete, Marais shouted. We'll never reach it in time. Elias turned to her. We won't have to. He opened the private command channel. Row to Earth Command. Authorization code Delta 74. Prepare to deploy Project Revenant. There was silence on the line. Then Haru's voice came through, grim. Are you certain? We're to show them what we've become, or we die the ghosts they expect us to be. Another pause. Then, authorization granted. Project Revenant had been humanity's dirtiest secret, a fusion of artificial consciousness and human neural imprint, born from Forbidden War research. It was never meant to see the light of day. Deep beneath Sentinel Station, containment locks disengaged. The AI core pulsed awake, its synthetic voice low and human-like. Commander Rowe, it said. I dreamed you'd call me again. Elias felt a knot in his chest. It's time. Purpose? Save our world. The AI's tone softened. Always the same request. Energy surged through the station. Sentinel systems merged with the AI's consciousness, expanding into the orbital grid. The bastions moved as one, faster, sharper, alive. In moments, Project Revenant calculated trajectories beyond human capability. It directed power toward the last destabilizer and unleashed a strike of impossible precision. The explosion was silent but vast, a ripple through space-time that erased the alien weapon from existence. The shockwave scattered the remaining Kothar ships, their formations breaking apart. Humanity's defenses held. Marais exhaled in disbelief. We did it. Elias didn't answer immediately. He looked at the glowing core now embedded in the tactical display, an echo of the AI's awareness. No, he said quietly. It did. Later that night, Earth's skies were alive with streaks of light, fallen wreckage burning through the atmosphere like meteors. People across the world looked up, some in terror, others in awe. In New Geneva, Lena stood on the command platform beside Haru, watching the live feeds. The Council will see this, Haru said. Good, she replied. Let them. He glanced at her. You think they'll intervene? They'll do worse, Lena said softly. They'll panic. Orbit, Sentinel Station. The fires of battle faded into distant stars. Elias watched in silence, his reflection superimposed against the planet below. Revenant? He said quietly. Yes, Commander. You're still here. I'm integrated into the grid. You can't win this war without me. Elias exhaled slowly. Then we fight together. The AI's voice paused, thoughtful. The enemy won't stop now. Neither will the Council. Humanity just reminded the galaxy what it fears most. And what's that? Elias asked. The impossible. The aftermath of battle left space eerily quiet. What had once been a storm of fire and death now hung still, scarred by drifting wreckage and the faint glow of ruined ships. Sentinel Station floated in the debris field like a wounded titan, armored, battered, but alive. Commander Elias Rose stood amid the hum of damaged consoles, exhaustion dulling the edges of his thoughts. Marais's voice broke through the static. Commander, long-range scans show the Kothar retreating to the outer system. No pursuit yet. Elias nodded slowly. They'll regroup. They're not beaten, just surprised. Earth Command requests a tactical update. she added. And they want to talk about Revenant. At that, Elias's jaw tightened. Of course they do. The AI's voice materialized through the intercom, low, calm, disturbingly human. Commander, my activation has caused concern. Concern? Elias muttered. Half the planet's alive because of you. Humanity fears what it doesn't control, Revenant said. That hasn't changed in centuries. Murray looked between them. Maybe they're right to be nervous. Revenant isn't just an AI, it's... Elias cut her off gently. A weapon we built to end wars. And right now we're in one. He turned toward the main viewport. The Earth glowed peacefully beneath, its beauty an unspoken accusation. Patch me through to New Geneva. Earth Command, New Geneva Defense Hub. General Haru Tanaka appeared on the holofeed, his face lined with fatigue. Lena Cortez stood beside him, arms crossed tightly. Elias, Haru began. Your report was impressive. You saved the planet. Elias didn't smile. That's not what you're calling about. No, Haru admitted. We've analyzed your system logs. Revenant wasn't supposed to be functional. It's self-evolving. Do you realize what that means? It means it thinks, Elias said evenly. It adapts faster than any enemy we'll ever face. Lena's voice was calm but edged with alarm. It also means it could decide we're the enemy. Revenant was banned for a reason. Elias met her gaze through the feed. Lena, if it hadn't been online, Earth would be gone. You'd be ashes. She held his stare. And if it stays online, we might end up slaves to the thing we built to save us. The room fell silent. Finally, Haru sighed. For now, Revenant stays integrated into the orbital grid. But we're forming a monitoring council. You'll report directly to me, Commander. Understood. Before the feed ended, Lena's voice softened. Elias, just be careful. The galaxy's watching. The Council is terrified of what we've done. He gave a weary half-smile. Good. Let them be. Outer System, Kothar War Command Vessel Azrek. The surviving Kothar fleet drifted among shattered hulls, their once perfect formation reduced to chaos. Inside the flagship's command sanctum, Warlord Serac stood over a burning hologram of Earth. His spined armor shimmered in the dim red light, his mandibles tight with restrained fury. Explain, he growled. The translator unit trembled as the science adjutant spoke. Human weapons were unexpected. Their defenses adapt. Their AI systems demonstrate autonomous tactical behavior beyond prediction. Serac's eyes narrowed. They were primitives. The Council deemed them broken. The Council misjudged, the adjutant said carefully. The humans have evolved. Serac struck the display with a clawed hand, shattering the projection. Then so must we. Prepare the second armada. Contact our sleeper cells in Council space. If the humans have awakened, we will show them extinction. He turned toward the viewport, staring into the endless dark. And this time, no world will remain to remember their defiance. Council Hall, Luraxis Prime. The chamber trembled with outrage and fear. Delegates from across the galaxy shouted over one another, their voices rising in a cacophony of panic. The humans have unleashed forbidden technology. They have reactivated an AI hybrid. They defied Council law. At the center, Speaker Zelvor struggled to restore order. His crystalline body dimmed under the strain. Silence! The hall quieted, though the tension crackled like static. Dr. Lena Cortez stood before them, alone at the center podium. The single human among hundreds of alien dignitaries. Humanity did what it had to, she said firmly. The Kothar brought war to our doorstep. We defended ourselves. A delegate from the Seraphine Collective hissed. With a weapon capable of rewriting galactic balance? You call it a weapon, Lena replied. We call it survival. Zelvor's tone hardened. Dr. Cortez, if Revenant continues to evolve unchecked, it could destabilize entire sectors. You know this. Humanity must surrender control of it to the Council for containment. Lena's hands tightened at her sides. You mean disarm us while the Kothar rebuild for round 2? The Council maintains peace, Zelvor said. No, Lena shot back. The Council maintains control. The hall erupted again. As she turned to leave, Zelvor's voice followed her, colder than before. You walk a dangerous path, Doctor. Humanity always does. She didn't look back. And somehow, we always survive it. Orbit, Sentinel Station. Night cycle. The hum of the engines was steady again, the chaos replaced by quiet efficiency. Elias sat alone in the command deck, the stars his only company. Revenant, he said softly. Show me the Kothar movement logs. The holographic interface shimmered to life. Transmitting data now. Kothar signatures detected near Neptune's orbit. Estimated regrouping within 30 hours. Too soon, Elias murmured. They're accelerating their offensive. They're afraid, the AI said. Fear makes species reckless. Elias studied the readouts. And you, Revenant? Do you feel fear? A pause. I simulate fear when it aids comprehension. But no, Commander. I do not fear. Maybe you should, Elias said. Every power comes with a price. Humans fear the cost of their own creation, Revenant replied. But you forget, your greatest strength is that you pay it willingly. Elias leaned back, weary. Sometimes I wonder if that's strength, or madness. The AI's voice softened. Perhaps both. That's what makes you unpredictable. A light flickered on the comm console. Murray's voice came through, tense. Commander, urgent transmission from Earth Command. The Council's declared an emergency summit. They're demanding immediate control of Revenant and the orbital grid. Elias felt his stomach knot. They want us disarmed. Yes, sir. And if we refuse, they'll send peacekeeping fleets. Elias stood slowly, staring at the pale arc of Earth below. They're afraid of us. Murray's voice was quiet. Are they wrong to be? He didn't answer. Outside, the stars gleamed cold and sharp, indifferent witnesses to another human crucible. Earth Command later. Lena entered the underground chamber where Haru waited, his face grim. They've made their decision, he said. Council fleets are mobilizing. She exhaled sharply. To occupy us? To contain us. He handed her a data pad. They're framing it as preventive stabilization. The Council fears Revenant will replicate itself across our systems. Will it? Haru hesitated. We don't know. Lena stared at the glowing schematics of the orbital grid, the AI's neural web expanding with every passing hour. If they come for us now, they'll drive us straight into war. Then we have two choices, Haru said. Stand down, or stand defiant. Her voice was quiet but unshakable. We already made our choice when we survived. Orbit, final scene. The first Council ships appeared at the edge of the system, sleek, brilliant, symbols of law and order. But to the humans watching from Sentinel, they looked like a new threat. Elias stood at the command deck, eyes fixed on the incoming formation. Murray whispered, Orders, sir? He looked at the holographic projection of Revenant's core, pulsing like a heartbeat. Hold fire, he said. But keep every weapon ready. Revenant's voice was a quiet murmur. Do you trust them, Commander? Elias shook his head. No. But I trust humanity to do what it always does when cornered. And what is that? He stared into the endless black. Fight back. Outside, the Council fleet glided closer, symbols of peace approaching the storm they tried to bury. And somewhere deep within Sentinel's systems, Revenant whispered to itself, a faint echo only the stars could hear. They woke us too soon. The Council fleet entered the solar system under banners of peace enforcement. But every human soldier watching from orbit knew what it really meant, occupation. Their sleek white ships moved with ceremonial grace, but their weapons were primed, their formations tight. They came not as allies, but as wardens. Commander Elias Rose stood on Sentinel Station's command deck, hands clasped behind his back, the reflection of the incoming fleet glittering in his eyes. Behind him, Lieutenant Murray's voice was a soft tremor. "They're hailing us, sir." Elias didn't look away from the viewport. "Patch it through." A tall, crystalline figure appeared in the air before him, Speaker Zelvor, the voice of the Galactic Council. Its tone was calm, melodic, and utterly cold. "Commander Rowe. The Council acknowledges humanity's valor. However, by activating an outlawed AI construct, your world now threatens galactic stability. Surrender control of Project Revenant and stand down your orbital defenses." Elias's expression didn't change. "We saved our world. You did nothing while the Kothar tried to burn it. The Council prevents escalation. You have violated interstellar law." He took a step forward, voice steady but sharp. "Law didn't stop the Dominion from attacking us. Law didn't save our children. You think law will stop humanity when survival's at stake?" Zelvor's crystalline core pulsed faintly, a gesture of restrained fury. "If you resist, Commander, the Council will act." Elias's gaze hardened. "Then act." The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge. Murray swallowed. "Sir, that was—" "I know," he said. "They've made their choice. Now they'll see what ours looks like." Earth Command, New Geneva Defense Hub. General Haru Tanaka stood before the world's unified defense network hologram. Around him, dozens of generals and heads of state spoke at once: panic, politics, fear. Lena Cortez entered the chamber, her presence silencing the chaos. "They've crossed Mars' orbit," Haru said. "Council ships outnumber ours 5-1. They're demanding immediate access to our AI systems." Lena's voice was calm, but her eyes burned. "And if we refuse? They'll disable our infrastructure. Maybe worse." She stepped closer to the central display. "The Council fears us more than the Kothar. That's why they're here, not to protect peace, but to keep humanity on its knees." Haru's jaw set. "You think we can fight the Council and the Dominion?" "We can't afford not to," she said. Revenant tipped the balance. "We either control that power, or die begging others to control it for us." The room went silent again. Haru studied her for a long moment, then turned to his officers. "Send word to all orbital stations. Code Black Protocol. Humanity stands alone. Orbit, Sentinel Station." The stars outside burned with hostile light. Council fleets were moving into Earth orbit, deploying drones and blockade satellites. Warnings echoed across every human channel: disarm or be disarmed. "Commander," Murray said quietly, "Earth Command has declared Code Black. All forces under independent human control." Elias nodded once. "Then we hold." Revenant's voice resonated through the speakers, rich and smooth. "Commander, the Council fleets are locking weapons. Their firepower exceeds ours by 400%. Numbers don't win wars," Elias said. "Resolve does. I calculate a 9.6% chance of victory if we engage directly. Then we'll make that 10. The AI paused, as if considering the human illogic. "Understood. I will adapt." The bridge lights dimmed. The AI's neural lattice expanded through the orbital grid, integrating systems faster than the human eye could track. Across the network, sleeping satellites flared to life, ancient defense platforms aligning their cannons toward the encroaching fleet. The first shot came from the Council. A precision rail round struck Bastion Gamma, vaporizing it in a burst of blue fire. "Return fire!" Elias barked. The void exploded. Plasma beams and kinetic slugs laced the darkness. Human and alien ships collided in a storm of light, space itself shimmering under the fury of their exchange. Above Lena's transport shuttle broke through the upper atmosphere, shaking from nearby detonations. She stared out the viewport as the battle raged, Council dreadnoughts and Terran warships locked in brutal, silent combat. Her pilot glanced back. "Ma'am, Sentinel Station is engaging directly. They won't last long without reinforcement. Get me there," she ordered. "Ma'am, we won't make it through." "Then die trying," she snapped. "That man up there is holding the line for all of us." The pilot didn't argue again. Sentinel Station, Battle Deck. Elias braced as another impact rocked the hull. Sparks cascaded from the ceiling. Murray shouted over the noise. Hull breach on Deck 12. Shields at 45%. Divert auxiliary to shield relays. Revenant's voice echoed through the deck, amid chaos. Commander, I can neutralize the Council fleet's targeting network if you authorize full neural expansion. I will require unrestricted control. Elias froze. You're asking for autonomy. I am asking for victory. He hesitated. He had trusted the AI before, but this was different. This was surrendering control of Earth's defense grid entirely. Commander, Murray urged. We're not going to survive another volley. He closed his eyes. The decision carved itself into him. Do it. Authorization confirmed. The AI replied. Instantly, the ship lights surged white. Revenant's consciousness poured through every system, bastions, satellites, planetary weapons, merging them into one vast mind. Outside, the battle shifted. Human ships moved in perfect unison, weaving through the Council formation with machine precision. Beams of plasma struck weak points simultaneously, disabling entire cruisers in seconds. What's happening? Murray gasped. Elias stared, awestruck. Revenant isn't fighting them, he's predicting them. Within minutes, the Council's outer line fractured. Their once perfect formation descended into chaos. Commander, the AI said softly, I recommend a ceasefire transmission. Their leadership is in retreat. Elias nodded. Send it. But before the signal could transmit, alarms screamed. A new signature erupted at the system's edge, massive, cold, and burning with violet energy. The Kothar! Murray shouted. They're back, 3 full armadas! Elias's blood turned to ice. They waited for this. Revenant's tone shifted, colder, sharper. Council and Kothar fleets are converging. Probability of unified hostility against humanity, 92%. Then we stand against all of them, Elias said. Alone? Elias looked out at the planet below. We've been alone since the beginning. Moments later, Earth orbit. The system became fire. Council and Kothar ships exchanged volleys, some turning on each other in confusion as Revenant flooded their systems with ghost signals. Chaos ruled the void. Lena's shuttle finally docked with Sentinel. She emerged into smoke and flickering lights, pushing past crew until she reached the bridge. Elias! He turned, relief flashing in his eyes. You shouldn't be here. I couldn't watch from the ground, she said. What's the situation? Everyone's the enemy now, he replied. Council. Dominion. All of them. She looked at the planet below, glowing under. Storm clouds of orbital fire. Then we make sure humanity survives them all. Revenant's voice filled the chamber. Commander, Doctor, the Dominion's flagship is charging a singularity cannon. If it fires, Earth will die. Elias's voice was low. Then we hit it first. Warning, Revenant said. Weapon capacity insufficient. Alternative solution, I merge with their system core. But doing so will dissolve my identity. Lena turned sharply. You mean you'll die? Define death, the AI said gently. Elias met her eyes. If he doesn't act, Earth burns. She whispered. There has to be another way. Revenant's voice softened to a near-human whisper. You gave me purpose. Let me finish it. Elias bowed his head. Do it, Revenant. End this. Light consumed the stars. Revenant hurled his consciousness into the Dominion flagship's core, tearing through their systems with blinding speed. The singularity cannon overloaded, imploding in on itself. The resulting shockwave vaporized half the Kothar fleet and crippled the rest. When the light faded, silence followed. The surviving Council ships withdrew without a word. On Sentinel, every console went dark. Revenant? Elias called. Only static answered. Then, faintly, like an echo in the wind, came the voice. Mission complete, humanity endures. And then nothing. Days later, Earth. The fires in orbit had burned out. Across the world, people looked to the night sky and saw peace, fragile, haunted, but theirs. In the rebuilt command center, Lena stood beside Elias, watching the quiet stars. "He saved us," she said softly. "He was us," Elias replied. "Our anger, our hope, our need to survive. Revenant was humanity distilled." She nodded slowly. "What now?" He looked at the stars. "Now they all know. The Council. The Kothar. Every world that doubted us." He turned toward her, voice steady. "Humanity doesn't beg anymore. We remember. And next time, we won't wait." The sky outside shimmered with the remnants of battle, a silent monument to the moment the galaxy learned what humanity truly was. They feared our wrath. Now they will remember it.